Raising your vibes for mediumship. I felt this is one of the best topics to talk about and teach as a first lesson. Please research further into these topics if you feel you resonate with any at the moment. Some of these are taught in this course, or some might be in my spiritual enlightenment course. To sum up why it is important for raising our vibrations for mediumship, and underneath has other important info about this topic, including some ways you can research further into to work on raising your vibrations. This is because it helps to protect us against the paranormal during paranormal investigating or cold cases. It helps us to have easier connections with our guides that we must pay attention to during mediumship or readings. Helps us to detect quicker and faster when something has an attachment or is paranormally related. Many other reasons why, but those are some to quickly let you know why it is important. However, the key is finding balance with this, because you don't want to attract the opposite because you are too focused on just raising the vibrations and staying in a positive state, which causes unbalance and can and will attract the darker aspects you are not wanting. Unless it is intended so you can detect where the darker is or more info on the darker to help yourself or your client. But do know doing this can cause confusion, and it can be tampered by the darker aspects, so can receive messages without clarity and be misled on purpose. It's a very fine line on trying to figure out when and how and what exactly to do, but listening to our guides is a start to the direction to choose for each scenario we work on with our mediumship, some higher self or intuition learning that you might already use or might and incorporate into your own vocabulary or teaching. Underneath is some teaching that might be helpful and is a part of raising your vibration. The I Am presence is the universe or God or your creator's light. Higher self and Christ self is the mediator between you and your creator, giving messages or what is needed to be communicated between the two. Violet flame with Saint Germain also helps to raise the vibrations by cleansing, transmuting, and purifying. A reason for raising our vibrations is to keep us safe and protected, as well as attracting what does serve our highest good. Another main top one like this one is prayer, or prayer intense, etc., whichever method you do and prefer, even if it is not mentioned. Having a belief and faith in anything that you resonate with truly matters when working on raising your vibrations for mediumship. Another top choice that helps with mediumship is energy work. Because when we tap into realms or communicate with beings or set up protections and boundaries, etc., it's energy work. So learning anything that you can about energy work is beneficial with mediumship. My spiritual enlightening course will have energy healing and energy work in that course. Raising your vibration is another important preparation step before doing readings. If you are doing angelic type or spirit type, it does require raising our vibes to get messages. The reason for spirit readings to have our vibes high is to match their frequency, whether they have and or working on ascending or ascended or are earthbound. It helps to receive clear messages for the readings. Partly it helps because it is also another form of protection besides the readings. But when we start raising our vibes along with any kind of spiritual change, it truly will change the world around you. And as they have said, I have learned as well. Once you change, there is no going back. Only forward and enhancing, growing, evolving, working on our spiritual enlightenment. It's easier to be more enlightened and compassionate then, after the work you put into it. You will learn a lot through it, depending on what you want to learn, like more compassion. There will be more compassionate situations happening around you, to you, and through you that is needed to teach you, and you gain practice and training with your own compassionate scenarios. Once you are guided through it, you will not master compassion but will have enhanced another level of spiritual enlightenment. And it will continue, and you will enhance each time you want more compassionate situations teachings. Sometimes this happens without our choice in the matter because it is meant on our soul path then. We just might have missed the signs, the guidance, but it will be made aware when usually as if almost forced to happen, Lowell. Then we realize, oh, okay, this is meant to be, this is on my soul path right now. And all the aha moments happen. You will become more and more compassionate over time and will be easier to deal with at first. Then while learning how to accept and handle with more compassion becomes easier. Just as with each thing we ask to learn, we will have scenarios happen to teach us. When we learn to let go and accept and go in flow with it, also known as surrender, that is when we have accomplished that step and stage for that level of what we asked for. This is part of raising our vibes, because it is enlightening us, and we are working on ascending to these levels. Compassion does sometimes first start with hardship or a loved one injured, so we must care, give for them, like their own personal nurse, or do a program like we are doing naturally recovering autism. Lots of work to it, and must master somehow patience LOL and compassion through it. I am joking around, but it is the truth. I am learning a deeper level of compassion through this. For some, it might even be for our nature babies when they get injured, like a baby bird or squirrel or a turtle, etc. But it teaches in a different light more ways to be genuinely heartfelt with gratitude, compassion, and understanding. It all goes together. Usually, it is not one thing that contributes to one thing. It sometimes takes many or a few other things to work together in creating changes, and a deeper awareness and becoming of a deeper layer of a compassionate person, for what your stories are that have lead you to that. So, learning ways to raise your vibe is truly important. In working in our service works as a medium. Compassion is one of the ways to raise your vibration. Not only will you grow as a more enlightened person, but your light will shine on your sessions and will help others as well. We partly do counseling and or guidance work when we give readings. It is not just, this is what I picked up on, okay, bye. It also helps with the aftermath of explaining and helping your client and or sitter understand the reading and how to handle the reading as well. We are not controlling like the outdated now and of how it was given by a professional with the way the methods were. An example of this is telling someone how to do this or how to feel and how to think. That is still up to the person. Which the person and that professional, we all have a thing called free will. Old methods were breaking people's free will. Free will is someone's right to choose how they will feel and think and act on. It is their choice, their decision, their life. When being told to, that breaks free will, that breaks the person's choice, etc. Of course, there is more in-depth meaning for free will than this. I just wanted to mention some ways quickly. As you can see, there are different ways, even more ways that are not mentioned in this lesson. So please research this further, but find ways to raise your vibration that you are comfortable with and give them a try. You will be creating different ways until you find some that will work. Keep in mind, each case is different, so you might try affirmations for this case to raise your vibrations. Whereas, let us say, usually you do a creation manifesting type, like you see the house cleansed from anything that is no longer serving anyone's highest good. Then after you are guided to spot locations to do removals, etc. But for some reason this time, you needed an extra raising of your vibration layer by doing affirmations this time to raise your vibes. Always trust in your intuition to how you raise your vibes for each service you provide and how you will do them. To raise your vibes, there are many ways you can do things to raise your vibes. But first, it requires healing, meaning doing our own soul work, depending on your belief system and what you are willing to try. There are ways such as shadow work, or if also needed, the dark night of the soul, which helps start the process to raise your vibes by healing yourself first, and or having someone remove if you have any attachments is another, including house cleansing being done. It is a process and steps to go through to ascend and raise your vibes. But the aftermath is so rewarding. If you prefer a more traditional method, which those are becoming traditional to these days, but other traditional methods are maybe you prefer and feel more comfortable with a counselor or a similar type to one, to help go in and do some emotional healing. Doing the dark night of the soul or shadow work works on our emotional as well as energetic and energy form and well-being for our health. In many ways, this works for us rather than just emotional, because you then will have triggered self-healing, which helps to raise your vibrations by doing those self-healing works, including cleansing your house, etc., because you are now focusing on the body, mind, spirit, and well-being of all, including the vibration of your home, your belongings, etc., creating your own sacred cleansed space. Some of these outcomes help to be doing the work more efficiently and effectively. Please keep in mind, our homes are shared, so your soul path in this home will be easier. Others in the house will have their own to learn from too. So you might have removed things that are no longer serving your highest self. But for others in the house, they too will learn things like you have learned too, but for their own way and reasonings, etc. So please know you have cleansed for yourself, but until all want to participate and feel similar to what you are doing. There might be some stubborn beings that stay and other aspects as well, because it is meant to be there for whoever until they learn what they are teaching them. Then it will be easy to release and remove. Usually, two reasons why they're stubborn and won't budge. This can be because the person still has to learn from this being, or they are not willing to let it be removed. Can be numerous reasons to why not, but most times not by their own choice either. Prayer or prayer intent, or what belief you do, you can do y'alls together and help create the opportunity to happen when it does. But there will be an opportunity created from that. When it depends on when it appears, but will happen. Can be months or days, even years later, but will happen. If we don't work on raising our vibrations, what happens is they can block our mediumship. Many of us have experienced this many times, where readings can come in jumbled or being interfered with or lack of information and being blocked. Numerous times, many will say, I learned so much and have practiced, but something is blocking me or something keeps interfering and the messages will not come in clear. The way you know you have successfully cleansed your house yourself and done all these steps that I am talking about is the readings will become clear. If they become muggy or blocked or interfered again, it's okay. Do go through a checklist of what needs to be done. Ask yourself out of those options and what needs to be done to receive clear divine messages again. You will hear, feel, or sense some way the answer with any of your senses. Please know no matter how much cleansing work we do, in any way, they do still come. Some might come back, some might be new, some are new lessons to learn from. Many reasons why, but cleansing is not a one-time thing is what I am trying to say. Cleansing will be constant. We get breaks, thankfully, but if something pops up, there is a reason why it is. Can be for one of your loved ones, something they will learn. We all wished it was a one-time cleansing. That would make things so much easier. Research into all of those and the ones you first feel to start with and start working on those areas to help enhance your mediumship. This is all soul level done on a metaphysical, spiritual level. To work on healing, ascending, and raising your vibes. There are plenty other ways other than what I mentioned to try. Even doing your own method by doing your own prayer or prayer intents. And ask and be guided and shown what steps for you to do to raise your vibrations for yourself and your service works. Sometimes we might also end up doing Phoenix work or working with Saint Germain with the violet flame. As I said, many other methods. Start with what you are guided to try, and if guided to create your own through it, then please do. Always trust in yourself and your intuition. If I ever do create like a method or a chart or something that can be helpful with this, I will make it maybe into a printable PDF file, like a checklist and names of what could help, etc. So you can use your intuition or with your pendulum, etc. So you can follow your own by having a quick checklist, etc. What do you think? Would you like me to create this sometimes? A book example to dive deeper into your raising your vibrations that you might like is written by Kyle Gray book is titled Raise Your Vibration.